Hey, so I'm back in Israel, in Jerusalem, and I've just had the most surreal day. I went to one of the hospitals where some of the hostages who were returned this week are being treated, and I did an interview with the doctor who is in charge of the returning hostages unit at the hospital that has been created especially for this moment. It was essentially put in place and established very, very soon after October the 7th. And it's been empty for a lot of that time. Um, and now it's finally being used to treat the hostages that this whole country has been worried about and praying for 2 years now. And she talked to me about the physical and psychological challenges of what they're going through. But before I get onto that, I'm just going to talk first about the surreal moment of seeing one of the hostages within the hospital complex. We were waiting outside by one of the entrances in this sort of park area, and I could see this small group of people walking towards me. And Avinatan Or, who we realized it was afterwards, quite soon afterwards, because he looks very different from how he did when he was captured. If you look at the photos from then, he was walking towards me with a male companion and security, and he's very tall, so very striking in appearance anyway. And then I noticed quite quickly that he was so pale compared to the people with him and very, very thin. And he looked kind of quite charged as he was walking past. I said hello, but um, there wasn't, I don't know if he even registered. And I've since learned that he has been kept in a tunnel in a cage with no human contact for 2 years. I can't even begin to imagine what it must be like for him adjusting to being home now, but also even just things that we take for granted, like adjusting to daylight again. And one of the security guys at the hospital who confirmed to me that it was him said he'd just been to the gym. So clearly, you know, exercising again, which is something he hasn't been able to do. Apparently, he's had absolutely no human contact and was kept isolated underground since October the 7th. You may remember that he and his girlfriend were taken hostage from the Nova Music Festival, and his girlfriend Noah became one of the most memorable images of that day because she was captured by Hamas on the back of a motorcycle with her arms outstretched, being driven into Gaza. Absolutely terrifying. And she was rescued by the Israeli military last year. And she has described how she was kept with other people when she was in captivity with women and children. And she, I don't think, was aware of the conditions that her boyfriend was being kept in, but we now know that he was in a tunnel. And I've been told this afternoon he was kept in a cage in a tunnel for all of that time. Anyway, it was really surreal seeing him. And the doctor who's running the unit where they're all being treated has said, they're dealing with a wide range of issues. Obviously, she couldn't go into specifics because of patient confidentiality, but something that I've been told happens in the week prior to release is that they are all given a lot more food than they've been used to. And that comes with it certain problems because they're not used to digesting and eating very much. But we could see in the appearance of the rescued and returned hostages this week that they didn't look as scarily thin as that video we saw of Eviatar David, who was in a video released by Hamas in August, and he just looked absolutely emaciated and was filmed supposedly digging his own grave in a tunnel in Gaza. Anyway, I mean, the physical side of things is just one part of the recovery. The psychological side is another. And the doctor at the hospital said to me, even if they look physically okay, there's a lot going on that we're still learning about. And she was talking about how the families are there with them and that they're treating the families and the returnees, as they now like to refer to them rather than as hostages. They're treating them all, if you like, holistically, because they've all gone through so much, and there's going to be a lot for them to process and unpack. But that's my update from today. It feels definitely like it feels lighter here since the living hostages have been returned. Certainly, people that I've spoken to say, you see more people smiling in the street than you did before. But of course, there's still a lot of trauma here, and there's still a heck of a lot of suffering going on not very far away in Gaza. And yeah, I mean, since I got back, I also spoke with a few UN contacts who are here working on the next phase of what's happening in Gaza. And they said that they're just still working it all out. It's not very clear at all about what is going to happen. And when I said, do you think the ceasefire is going to last? They sort of gave me this withering look and said, we hope so, but it still feels really fragile. The Rafah crossing between Egypt and Gaza is still closed, and that is really needed for enough aid to get in. So look, I mean, there's still a heck of a long way to go here in terms of this war and the suffering being over, truly over. But yeah, that's my update from Israel today. And certainly it felt like a really big moment passing Avinatan Or, who I just cannot believe has been living in a tunnel for 2 years. I can't actually imagine what that's like, but he's now back here, reunited with his family and with his girlfriend. I will speak to you soon.